Watching TVC Breakfast. As we hinted earlier, kidnapping has become one of the most pervasive and violent crimes in the country. Some others, it has become a viable business venture. In the last 1 year, at least 5 priests of the Catholic Archdiocese have either been kidnapped or killed by armed bandits in Kaduna State. The latest is Reverend Father Emmanuel Silas, who was kidnapped on Monday this week at the rectory of the St. Charles Catholic Church, Zambina, in Kauru local government area. TVC News Lopa Assam has more.
The Catholic Archdiocese of Kaduna has in the past 1 year been in the direct line of fire from bandits. Not only have several of their members been kidnapped by terrorists, at least 3 priests have now been killed. This is also the sad reality of several communities dominated by Muslims and Christians.
Within 1 year, I am bearing three priests. No, Nigerians are not free. We are prisoners. All Nigerians are prisoners in their country.
Reverend Father Emmanuel Silas is the latest Catholic priest to be kidnapped in Kaduna. Monday morning, he was whisked away to an unknown destination by bandits who attacked the parish rectory of St. Charles Catholic Church in Zabina, Kaura local government area. The incident comes 5 days after over 500 priests held a procession to protest the gruesome murder of Father Vitus Borogo. On the 26th of June, he was gruesomely killed by armed bandits while working on his farm.
What other sign of a failed state are we looking for? If these are not clear signs enough, I think it's a terrible thing.
The only thing that gives me concern seriously is, am I sure the president knows that his name is going down in history as a president that is supervising the killing of his people? Citizens of this country are in the hands of terrorists. Mr. President should sit up.
However, security agencies have visited some of these communities where these attacks take place. They have also assured the communities of their commitment to address the issue. From the mood in the state, it is clear that these citizens now need more than assurances to guarantee their safety. But it remains to be seen if the measures being deployed by the government yield positive results. Lupe Asom, TVC News, Kaduna.
Joining us now via Zoom from Kaduna State is the president of the Southern Kaduna People's Union, Honorable Jonathan Asake. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. Hello, are you there, Jonathan Asake? Connecting with Honorable Jonathan Asake, who is the president of the Southern Kaduna People's Union, that's SOKAPU, and this group has been very vocal about the spate of violence in the Southern Kaduna region. Of course, Kaduna State still in the eye of the storm regarding attacks, killings, kidnaps, and other security worries. So we can now connect with Honorable Asake. Welcome to TVC Breakfast.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning. Sam and I are with you, and we'll be conducting this interview with you together.
Of Clerics. What is your take on this whole phenomenon? It looks like not only your state, but your state particularly has become very vulnerable. Why is that?
Well, good morning once more. It is quite unfortunate that since 2015, the people of Kaduna State have been crying, the incessant insecurity that has taken over the state. Particularly when I came in as the national president of the Southern Kaduna People's Union in 2019, there is no day that we've not had one incident or the other across communities of Southern Kaduna and in all our local governments. No local government that has been spared. In fact, it has come to a point where the journalists are tired of reporting these incidences because it happens on daily basis. It has come to a point where our voices are becoming faint because it appears nothing is being done. But there is one thing that I have continued to sound out for people that may wish to hear, that one, certainly genocide is sweeping across our communities in Southern Kaduna, and it is underreported. Two, the world is not aware that our communities have been displaced into living in displaced people's camps, but not in camps organized by the government. The government in the state, neither the government at the center, I'm talking about the federal government, does not even recognize that we have this huge humanitarian situation in Southern Kaduna. And so the people are displaced on a daily basis into living in neighboring communities, only waiting to be further displaced. And some stay with families, some stays in uncompleted buildings, and there is no food for them. The state government has not even recognized that we have these displacements, not to talk of assisting with relief materials. And so this is the situation we find ourselves. Let me tell you, just this morning, around 4 a.m., just as usual, I was woken up again that communities in Iburu and Doka this morning have been under serious attack. A reverend of the Equa Church in Iburu was taken and his dead body was found, on the road this morning. And 4 corpses have been taken so far. Unspecified number of people have, as usual, been taken to the forest, and huge ransoms will be demanded. In Doka, 7 people have been confirmed taken into the forest. So we can only get the figures, now that it is morning, we can only get the figures of the number of people killed and the number of people that have been taken away. And you will hear the huge ransoms that will be placed on villagers that don't have food to eat, on villagers that cannot even access their farms for farming or harvesting, and the villagers that have been abandoned by the government of the day. But huge ransoms of millions will be placed on them until they have sold everything they have to rescue their loved ones. And sometimes even after payment of this ransom, they are killed. Let me just run you down, some records here. On Sunday, the 5th of June, when the Owo church attack was going on, at the same time, communities in Dogonoma, Mekori, Ngwangamu, and Ngwarimi in Kajuru local government in Southern Kaduna were attacked during a Sunday service, where these Fulani attackers riding on motorbikes, over 50 motorcycles with AK-47, each of the motorcycles carrying no less than 2 or 3 people. And when they came, the communities had to take their women back and arrange to stand up to them, while the vigilante of the communities had organized and resisted these attackers, and they were almost subduing them. Then a white helicopter came and started shelling at the very communities that needed help from the government. And when we broke this story, that a helicopter is now attacking our communities, that this genocide is real in our communities, that probably the attackers have now gotten sophisticated enough to be using air power to shell our communities. The state government, under the Commissioner of Internal Security, came up and said it was a military helicopter. They agreed that yes, 32 people were killed in that attack, and 29 people were taken into captivity. Up to this very day, they have not been released, mostly women and children, whose husbands were killed in that attack. And we had to get eyewitnesses, the survivors who came with their stories, and we recorded it. We invited the media. Up till now, the military has not said anything. Something like this happened in 2020 in Kabrasha in Chukwu local government. Meanwhile, Chukwu local government, over 85% of, 85 percent of the communities have been relocated, have been displaced. In Kabrasha, another plane went and bombed the Assemblies of God Church, sometimes in May 2020, and bombed some homes. And when we came out with the story, the same state government said it was a military helicopter and that it was a mistake. And they promised to build the church. Up till now, the church has not been built. Members of the community are not there.
All right.
These are the stories everywhere.
Honorable Asake, allow me to, come in now. You have raised some very serious issues and, rather weighty allegations. We did recall this report of attacks that you mentioned during the time of the Owo attack. Well, moving on now, worrying as the situation in Southern Kaduna is, the state government is of the opinion that Southern Kaduna isn't the only area in Kaduna State that have been the venue of horrendous attacks. It's in its latest 2022 report, it mentions calamities and casualties in other areas. My question to you is even about the fact that Kaduna has been called the garrison capital of the North. There's so many military bases there, even in Southern Kaduna. So how do you weigh this, the presence of the military and other security forces in Southern Kaduna and Kaduna State against the attacks that you are describing?
Well, it's unfortunate. Let me just take you to your first question about the state government saying it's not only Southern Kaduna communities that are under attack. Number one, the state government ought not to say that at any given time. It is the responsibility of the government to protect every citizen, whether it's from the north or from the south, whether it's a Christian or Muslim or a traditional worshiper. And that is number one. It's a constitutional duty. But this government has neglected entire communities in Southern Kaduna and left them to their own fate. They have been kidnapped, their women have been raped and taken into sex slaves every day. They are being killed in their numbers every day, and no relief material, no support coming to them, only from good-spirited individuals. That's number one. Number two, the issue that other parts of the state have been attacked. I challenge anybody to come out and tell us those parts of the state that have been attacked in the north. We have Hausa non-Muslims, and they are in the north. Like in Giwa local government, over 10 churches in Giwa local government, it is in the north, have been destroyed. And the entire people there, most of them have relocated. They have been displaced, staying in other communities. So if somebody says that other people in the north have been, also attacked and their homes have been destroyed, he has not said the whole truth. Who are those people that have been attacked? So there is a careful targeting of communities that, I feel that the people that are doing the attack, and that is something that you don't want to hear when we say the Fulani attackers, but they are Fulani jihadists. They're actually on a mission to displace the people and take over the lands that they feel they should occupy. And so there is no doubt about this. So I don't know. And you talk about the military. Most of these attacks takes place when there are military facilities, checkpoints everywhere. Come to Southern Kaduna. Before you get from Kaduna to Kafanchan, before you get to Kafanchan, you get over 20 checkpoints. But they are just on the road. And the attacks take place inside the communities. And oftentimes when you call the military, yes, there are a lot of them that are ready. A lot of these security agencies are ready to go and assist while there is an attack, while there are attacks. But oftentimes, they complain of getting strange orders not to interfere. And you will hear gunshots, you will hear people crying, homes are being bombed, sometimes even bombs. And in the deep of the night, you know how sound travels, but you won't see any help until it is the daybreak. They will just be counting dead bodies. And when youth that have run into the bush come back and see their dead ones who could not run, mostly women and children, and they see these attackers receding into the forest and they are chasing them, that is when the security agencies chase them and arrest them. And then the next thing you hear is that there is a clash between communities. There has never been a clash in this situation. The truth is not being told of what is happening. I am still telling you again, the truth is not being told. There is never a clash. What we have is unprovoked and premeditated attacks on our defenseless communities that are looking up to the authorities to defend them, and they are not allowing them to defend themselves. In Kaduna State, the governor, Nasiru El-Rufai, has made self-defense as a crime. In fact, he calls it seeking for self-help. And that if you see a person coming, he has told even communities that you don't have the right to even defend yourself. If the government is serious, they can allow people to defend themselves. I'm telling you, what these people are doing, most of these Fulani boys, they are 18 years and above, 20 years. And they are carrying these weapons openly. And our vigilante know where they are. If our youth are given the backing, all these miscreants that are just all over our bushes, they will be flushed out. But they are not allowed.
You are giving the impression that this is a solution that is easy to deal with, and that the security forces are actually working with these Fulani marauders and killers. Is that what you are telling us?
Please, can you come again?
I said that you are giving the impression that these marauders, these killers, they are around the corner and you guys know where they are, and that the security forces are actually working with them to destroy Nigerian citizens.
That is why I say it is either the security forces are not interested, or there is some kind of strange order coming from above. We have always heard that an order comes from above for them not to act. Even some of the securities have been victims of this. How many soldiers are being killed every day in our forest on a process that they are trying to intervene or to help the situation? Just last week, how many soldiers were killed in Shororo? You know the news. So the truth is that there is something that is happening that the world has not yet known in this government, and they have to come out clear. Can you hear me? Because I can't see my
We
my
can
video.
hear you. We can hear you. Go ahead. Honorable.
Now, is it not strange? Is it not strange that this rail transportation from between Abuja and Kaduna, that has become the only thing that Nigerians rely on, traveling between Kaduna and Abuja, two very important cities. And because of the nature of the road is a death trap. But on the 28th of March, these same people blocked this train, bombed it, took people into the forest. This is a train that gives hundreds of millions in revenue to the Nigerian government. But up till today, is it not strange that these people are still languishing in the forest? Some are getting mad. How many months? Getting to 3 months after. Is it not strange? I'm telling you, even local hunters, our local hunters, we know where they are. The governor of Kaduna State has said they know where they are. Everybody knows where they are. And let me tell you, even our local hunters, if they are empowered, they will flush these people out. We know exactly where they are, but they will not be allowed to go in there. The soldiers are not allowed to go in there. And that is the strange thing that you must ask. The question must be asked. Who is stopping the security from doing their work?
All right. Let me also ask, Honorable Asake, it's been reported of continuous army and even other defense forces engagement with several stakeholders in Kaduna State in a bid to stem this tide of daily cases of violence. What's been the result of that? How far have you gone in pushing these allegations, pushing your position to the army, to the government?
Let me tell you the sad thing. Even the army, whenever there is such a meeting, they call stakeholders, or traditional rulers, or community leaders like myself, or people in political position, and they will never get real with the truth of the situation. If you make an attempt to say the truth of the situation, you are looked at as a strange person. An attempt was made last month. They called us Kafanchan to talk about the insecurity. But it was like, oh, they're organizing a peace meeting. And each time I hear this, I laugh. I say, why are we continuing to play the ostrich every time in this country? When we know what is happening, that people are being killed in their communities, in their sleep, when we know that women and children are being taken into captivity. In fact, there are hundreds of people that have been taken into the forest and they are with these bandits, so-called bandits, today. But when they call us Kabanchan, they were talking about, oh, how can we live together in this part of the state? Oh, how can the people of Southern Kaduna live together in peace with their own neighbors? And the question I raised there was, how hypocritical. We're living in peace with one another. The tribes in Southern Kaduna are over 67, and we have Southerners that have been staying around Southern Kaduna, particularly in Kafanchan, because of the railway. In fact, from Bendel, the old Bendel, and the east, they are the ones that first even settled there with the natives. And we have never had a problem. But there is a situation that people are coming to kill and maim and rape and destroy and displace and take over communities, and nothing is done. And then you call people and you pretend and play the ostrich and say that we should stay in peace. With who? We're not fighting anybody. So people are running away from doing their basic responsibility. And our leaders must wake up. There is genocide and people are being pushed to the wall. That is the gospel truth. So that is all.
In fact, the Kaduna State Governor has always spoken with a sense of helplessness about what is going on. He believes it's not his problem, but it's the problem of the federal government, and that the federal government, who controls the instruments of violence, have not risen up to the situation. When you say there are strange orders, are you saying that the strange orders are from the center?
Let me take on that Governor El-Rufai, first of all, to tell you how pretentious, how unrealistic he is. Sometimes in May 2020, it was reported that some weaponized drones were being imported into Nigeria at the Aminu Kano International Airport. The man that was importing those weaponized drones was arrested. And we know that weaponized drones can only be authorized by the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. But the man said that the weaponized drones were being imported by the Kaduna State government. We, under the auspices of the Middle and Southern and Middle Belt Forum, brought out, a press release under Yinka Odumakin Lakes. And we asked that it must be investigated. What are these weaponized drones being imported by the Kaduna State government meant for? Now, does it surprise anyone that villagers are now saying they are seeing a white helicopter? It may be that weaponized drone. Nobody has investigated. Nobody has made reference to this. And if El-Rufai keeps talking and he says that there was a time he said that he needs to be allowed to bring in mercenaries. We cried out. We said those mercenaries are those that will be hired to come and kill us further. If he has money to bring mercenaries, what we told him as a solution is that let him use that money to empower local vigilantes in every community if he is sincere. Those vigilantes will flush out these bandits and we will have peace. But you are talking about mercenaries. That is not the way to go. Every time he stands logic on its head. The last time when people were coming to kill us, he said he chased them to pay them so that they can stop killing. Do you chase people to pay them, or you apprehend the situation, or you bring them to justice? So right. This is why I say, yeah.
Right. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that pause. I wanted to also ask, since you were on the issue of empowering local vigilantes to curb this violence, you say the vigilantes know the areas, but they are not empowered to. But even in the Southwest, where the Amotekun local security outfit is operational, there is still some restrictions because these officers are restricted to only using Dane guns, which cannot contend with the superior power of these arms and ammunition wielded by the terrorists. So it still comes down to the issue of, from the central arm of government empowering, so to speak, these local vigilantes to be able to wield the kind of power that will match what they're getting from the marauders, which also buttresses the suggestion that the problem or the solution lies the central government.
No, you see, again, I want to say that is not really the situation. The Amotekun in the southwest, yes, let me be established. I would doubt that Amotekun. Just mentioning that there is Amotekun, that is what has even helped the problem. The southwest would have just been like some of us in the middle belt. But the Amotekun also has been contending with forces from the federal government. You know it. And so they have not been allowed to freely operate and flush out these terrorists in the forest. But still, they have worked, they have tried. But we cannot have Amotekun. Look at what the governor of Zamfara State, the instruction he gave, that people should be allowed to carry out arms so that they can protect themselves. And people made me as a leader of my people. I say, why can we not key into that? I say, no, in Kaduna State, it will be a different thing. In fact, if you carry a den gun to defend your community, or even a machete, it is a crime. It is the greatest crime. I just want to recall that last year, just last year, on the 30th of September, we were there in a community called Madame in Kaura local government, part of Southern Kaduna, to bury 39 people that were killed in one night. And while we were having the mass burial, the church service, my PRO, Mr. Luka Binyard, wrote that report as a journalist, but he was immediately arrested and thrown into jail and left there for 3 months, while the attackers after that came for more attacks. As I'm talking today, Madame community, we went to provide relief materials to some Southern Kaduna community. We could not go there. We had to call some of the people to take the relief materials to them because it has been taken over. Does the government not know all these atrocities that have been committed, all these heinous crimes against humanity? There are more questions that this government can answer that we are raising, but nobody is answering.
Right. Honorable Jonathan Asake, the president of the Southern Kaduna People's Union, we thank you for your contributions on the program.